Welcome to Unfiltered. We've had a little technical problem with our opening. Andrea's in there working on it as we speak. And hopefully my mic is up. So let's start off. I didn't even finish my notes. I was waiting for hoping for the opening to run, but that's all right. The Mac went to sleep again. That's all it is. It doesn't like to work if you leave it on for a little while. Let's start with, everybody knows that we film this show on Thursday night at 7, a time when we first started, we were live. And I'm telling you, tonight would have been the perfect night to be live because you folks are watching it on Friday, but I'm so excited on Thursday evening. Michael Addison was sentenced to death today on Thursday. Now, he's the man that was found guilty in the killing of Officer Michael Briggs in Manchester 2 years ago. Finally, the court case is over. He was found guilty, and they have sentenced him to death. Now, that's good and it's bad. It's good because we're going to kill him. It's bad because it could be 10 years before all his appeals have been worked through. It shouldn't take that long. Sentenced to death today, kill him tomorrow, which brings us to another slight problem. New Hampshire, this is the first time the death sentence has been handed down in 50 years in New Hampshire. So New Hampshire has no death row, and we have no death chamber. So where he's killed and when he's killed and how he's killed, nobody knows still. We should just send him to Texas. Good thinking, Greg. Yeah, because they would, I'm sure, you send him to Texas, you say, look, the state of Texas, here's $1,000. Do what you got to do. Maybe Texas could actually bring in some state revenue that way by killing people that have been sentenced to death, but the states don't have death chambers. I mean, we could, I would say, build a death chamber, but we've just gone through this whole middle school thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and it would probably take 10 years to build the death chamber. Or they could find one they could renovate, maybe. Then it would take 15 years to decide whether they're going to renovate or build new, like with the middle school.
I'm curious what the last law on the books was as far as how they handled something like that 50 years ago, and I'm sure that somebody's got a tree and a length of rope they'd be willing to let use.
Oh yeah, I know people with guns. It seems like it would be easy just, to find a gun and shoot the guy somewhere.
Well, it costs money for the bullet.
I'm sure that Michael Briggs' family would gladly pay for the bullet.
Hanging him costs less.
What costs less?
Hanging him.
Yeah, I guess hanging would cost less. Probably make for better TV, too.
Or a good old-fashioned beheading.
We could behead him. We could draw and quarter him.
That would be cool.
Drawing and quartering is actually done with a horse, I think.
But you could
Back
use four-wheelers now.
In medieval times, they would tie the arms and the legs to horses, and off they'd go for the points of the compass. Yep.
Most everybody's got a four-wheeler up here, I'm sure.
People have got four-wheelers. But, I mean, it shouldn't take 10 years. He shouldn't be allowed to appeal and appeal and appeal. Because, I mean, it's like rolling the dice. Eventually, you're going to win. Eventually, he's going to get a jury that feels sorry for him.
Well, I agree.
And
once he's convicted, he ought to be just taken out and shot.
Oh, you think it's all judges now, Greg? Yeah. Oh, okay. But, I mean, eventually we'll have a judge that goes, oh, the only reason they blamed him was because he's a black guy. No, the only reason they blamed him was because he shot the guy. It doesn't matter if he was, I've seen him try white guys for killing people. You know, if you murder somebody, you should expect the death penalty. I don't know.
Well, they got his gun that he used in the crime, didn't he? So shoot him with his own gun.
They could do that. They could definitely do that. They also have 2 size 10.5 shoes that were picked up by the Secret Service in Iraq when the president was making a speech, and that reporter took off his shoes and threw his shoes at the president. And I gotta admit, Bush is a little quicker than what I expected. He ducked those things real quick and kind of did his little laugh there. And apparently somebody told me that he made the remark, well, it looks like size 10.5. And that was the only thing he said. Meanwhile, I think the reporter guy was tackled and tasered and beaten and then dragged to a little secret room and tasered and beaten some more. And no, he's probably been beaten. That's what they do in those countries. To people that don't agree with the way things are going, they beat them and they torture them until you start to think, you know, well, maybe living is a little bit more important than what I think. So I'll think whatever they want me to think. And I saw another story today, too. This, does anybody remember this John Walker, can't remember the last name that he took, but John Walker, he was in the 90s sometime. The guy that was found in Afghanistan, the American citizen, he was found in Afghanistan fighting with the Taliban. And he was arrested and brought back and sentenced to 20 years. Well, now his family is asking President Bush to commute the dude's sentence over the holidays. Yeah. I mean, this guy is like a traitor. He was fighting against the United States. Our first mistake was that we didn't charge him with treason and kill him. And now we just put him in jail and supported him. But I mean, we're good at that, which is probably why a lot of people think in like socialistic ways. We just automatically expect there to be something there when we need it. And prison is one of those things where if you got no money, you got no place to live, you commit a little crime, you go to jail, and they feed you and clothe you and give you medical care and a place to sleep that's warm. I bet there's people in Jeffrey and Sullivan and Stoddard and Dublin that are thinking, at this point, maybe a small crime and going to jail is better than sitting in their cold, dark houses. Because you can guarantee every jail in the state has power and heat. They weren't affected in the least by these ice storms that we've had. A lot of people were. Keene got really lucky. The New Ipswich, as of today, still was like 70% of the people in New Ipswich still had no power. Someplace over near the seacoast, the Public Service Company has actually asked the town if they will station a cop outside the Public Service office door because of angry customers coming to the door demanding their power. Some guy in Derry, I believe, got arrested because he tried to stop the power company people from leaving his neighborhood without making sure he had power. But they were working on a certain set of lines and they were on their way out, and he caused a scene and they arrested him and charged him with disorderly conduct and all the kinds of stuff. It's not worth it. There's another problem in New Ipswich.
But he's warm.
He is warm. In New Ipswich, they're starting to have a problem with people breaking into these empty houses and looting. I heard one house was broken into and all the copper All the pipes were stolen out of the damn house. If you are that ambitious to break into a house and strip all the copper piping out, you've probably got enough ambition to go out and get a honest job. Seriously.
Maybe he has a plumber.
Maybe he has a plumber. Yeah. Of course, it may be an out-of-work plumber that did the heist. That would be what I would think, you know. And, you know, these little towns, they don't have a lot of cops. Guy that lives across me is a National Guardsman. And he headed out, I believe, yesterday with all his stuff off to his meeting point and then to be doled out wherever they're needed in the state to go. And I don't know if they're actually out there helping the crews, or if they're out, you know, going door to door, making sure people are all right, making sure that riots don't break out, or just security. But it's horrible, and we've got, well, if you're watching this on Friday night, we're probably already buried. Because apparently this storm is supposed to start Friday at like 10 in the morning, and the heaviest snow is supposed to go between like 2 in the afternoon and 10 at night. And what I saw on the news was when weather people say heavy snow, they're talking at 1 or more inches per hour. So when they say the heaviest snow will pass between 2 and 10 at night, that's 8 hours. We're looking at least 8 inches. Yeah. And they showed us in the 8-inch band, depending on which way this thing tracks. And this thing just came across the California coast Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, it snowed in Malibu. Just a dusting, but it snowed. Meanwhile, the crawl on the bottom of the screen will tell you that NASA says the polar ice caps are melting at an unbelievably fast rate. But it's snowing in Malibu. It snowed in Las Vegas on Thursday. Almost 4 inches or more. I think last I heard, before when I came down to tape, was 3.5 inches in Vegas. And they haven't had any snow in like 4 years. They haven't even seen a snowflake unless it was cut out of a piece of paper.
They must have shut that town down for the first time in 60 years or 50 years.
Yeah. And I mean, the entire country's getting hammered as this couple of storm systems.
I doubt they got a snow shovel in the whole state.
Yeah, probably there's not a shovel. Well, Nevada, you'd be surprised, because there is some really high mountainous regions in Nevada. So they are equipped for snow plows and things like that.
In one town.
Well, no.
Probably not in Las Vegas.
Probably not in Las Vegas, but they'll bring in the National Guard and the Marines and the Air Force, and they'll figure it out. They'll just turn all the lights on and the heat will just melt everything. Real quick, their carbon footprint. But Washington State's getting hammered, and one of the news stations had a little time-lapse film of these cars someplace in Washington, and the road goes up a little hill to a stop sign. And then there's a crossroad. Well, it showed all these cars going halfway up the hill, and it's sliding out of control and sliding back down the bottom of the hill. Much like if you try to drive to Jaffrey up over 124. There's that one hill, nobody ever gets up, but everybody keeps trying. And if you set a camera up there, and I mean, it was funny. I sat there and laughed. It's a horrible situation, but I laughed. What can you do? I think I'll save these next stories until after crew call. We did the shoe throw, and that was funny. Red Sox should look at that guy. Well, we got the usual crew back again tonight. Jim is off at City Council, but we've got Greg on camera 1 and 2 and 3 and everything else. And in the booth is Bruce and Andrea.
How you doing, Rick? How's it going
all right.
out there?
Andrea was like harried there at the beginning of the show.
Just a little bit, yeah. The computer went on the fritz. We don't know what happened, but we couldn't get the opening to fire up. It just stopped, man. I don't know. It just stopped.
I know what happened.
You got some jumper cables or something? We'll give it a jump.
Keep it away.
Yeah, I know, but it's a Mac.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yes, it does. It's a Mac. It's a little adolescent computer, and someday we'll be able to have all grown-up computers here in Cheshire TV.
Someday. I am not looking forward to this storm coming in. We still haven't gotten our snowblower back from the repair shop.
Oh.
Yeah, they sat on it for 2 months waiting for the word to fix it after they told us what was wrong with it, and we said, well, go ahead.
Ah.
But apparently they didn't understand the go-ahead part. They just went ahead and sat on their ass and didn't worry about it. So.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, who would have expected it to snow in, like, December?
Yeah, who would have thought? That's why I give it to them back in September and said I'd like it for the 1st of November, please.
Every time, I mean, this weather, and my mother is a typical old New Englander. Every November, the first day that it hits 30 degrees, she starts screaming about turning on her heat tape and sealing up the windows and closing up the house and, you know, every little thing like it's never happened before. And then the snow comes, the first storm of the year. And oh my God, it's a horrible thing. And it's like, Mom, you're 67 years old. You've lived here your entire life. Every single year, it snows. Especially these couple of months right here. You know, I mean, if it snowed in July, I would understand her concern when she started freaking out about the snow that's falling from the sky. But yes, this is December, it's winter time, it's gonna be cold, and it's gonna be windy, and it's gonna be damp and snowy and icy, and if you've got trees around your house, you may end up with a tree on your house. If you live in the middle of nowhere, you're liable to lose power for months at a time. That's what living in the woods is. If you live in the middle of Sullivan and you're out of power for 3 weeks or 4 weeks because of an ice storm, well, you know, maybe you shouldn't have moved all the way out there on the end of that power line, because it's going to be the last place the power people go. Granted, it's nice to live at the very end of the road without any neighbors for 5-10 miles. But when you lose power, you have to remember, you're at the end of the road 5 or 10 miles from your neighbors. You're going to be the last one they do. You're not going to be first on their list when they go, oh my God, the power's out all over the state. Let's get that guy on the end of the dirt road in Sullivan. Nope, that's not where they're going to go. They're going to start in the middle and work their way out. And the last person that gets hooked up will be the guy that lives at the very end of the road. But like I said, he's got his privacy. And if they don't find him for months, he had his privacy. I don't know. It's crazy. So, yeah, did Andrea want to say hello?
Hello.
Any tidbits from NASCAR.com
Yeah,
this week?
actually there is one.
All right.
Petty Enterprises released Bobby Labonte from his contract.
Whoa.
And he's a free agent now to find another ride, because it was a mutual thing that they came for them. They talked about it and decided that was the best for his career. But now what they're talking about is, the last I heard is Petty may still field one car, but I didn't hear him mention a driver or anything. But that's about it. There's really nothing going on. And I was surprised that we even had any kind of news at all.
Yeah.
But
No, there'll be little tidbits and bits
Yeah.
and pieces, but it's only 2 months.
I'll tell you honestly, though, this economy slump that we're in right now, it is hitting everyone, and it's hitting NASCAR, but you know, eventually it's going to start hitting some of the other sports too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're going to start feeling the crunch because these guys wanting their big salaries, they're going to sit back and take a look. The owners are going to take a look and say, well, you know, I don't know if we can afford it.
Right. Yep.
So everyone's going to be hit hard with it.
Yeah, and it's not just sports teams that are in trouble. I saw a couple crawls this morning. Chrysler is closing all its U.S. production plants for at least a month. Now, I mean, this is the at least a month part is special, but closing of auto plants is not really a special thing. They are like many companies in the United States. I believe MPB is one of them down here, Timken. They close for 2 weeks over the holidays. And the people that qualify for vacation get their vacation pay for those 2 weeks. The people that don't, I believe they offer limited hours, I believe, to some of those people, and to other people they go on unemployment for those weeks, which is what's going to happen with the Chrysler employees. 2 weeks of their shutdown will be paid vacation pay, and then unemployment benefits will take over for the next 2 weeks. Ford is also adding 1 week to their normal yearly shutdown. So, and I haven't heard anything about GM yet, but their idea is that by shutting these plants down, they're saving money. They've still got cars out there that they're selling. So the money's still coming in, but they're not paying anything out. So I wish I could remember. I saw some financial company jacked their interest rates after they got $22 billion of that federal bailout money. This company gets $22 billion and still has the balls to jack their interest rates up. It's nuts. And I've been saying it over and over and over. It is nothing but greedy, slimy people that are doing it. And when you used to talk about bad people, there were bad people and there were good people. And you kind of knew by what people did, whether they were bad or good, what they did for a living. I mean, you used to be able to look at politicians and have a little bit of pride and know that these were honest, honest people with integrity, and you could basically trust them. These days, you can't trust anybody. You can't trust huge business CEOs. You can't trust state governors. That Blagojevich there in Illinois. Now they're actually fighting to have him impeached as governor. It's a horrible, horrible world. And I don't know what this Madoff guy, but I've been seeing a lot of scrolls about him being in huge trouble. I don't know if he's a politician or a business guy or what, but he's another guy that, whether it's embezzling billions of dollars from your company and your stockholders, the point is, these are greedy people. They don't care who they step on. They don't care who they burn on their way to the top. They don't care about anything except money. And it's not good. I love the crawl I saw that said bankruptcies have increased, I think it said by 13% over last year. And I'm going, yay. I don't have to fight to catch up to them. Because eventually their greed will bring them down to my level. And then I'll spit on them as I walk by. Toss them a quarter and go, there you go. Buy yourself nothing.
You know, the thing is, Rick, they'll never be at your level because you're above them as it is, because you're honest.
Well,
Their
I
dishonesty
try.
makes them below you. And yet they're not even smart enough to figure that one out.
Well, that's the thing. They've got too much money, so they believe that money gives them the right not to use their brain and to be stupid. I know absolutely nothing about this next. All right. I know absolutely nothing about this next story. I saw a crawl on the bottom of the screen last night, and I actually didn't write it down until just a few minutes ago, because my head almost exploded when I read it. The crawl said, Mexico searches for abducted U.S. anti-kidnapping expert. I'll paraphrase that for you hard of thinking. A United States anti-kidnapping expert. That means an expert at not getting kidnapped has been kidnapped in Mexico. So apparently, I don't really know if I'd call him an expert or not. He is no longer an anti-kidnapping expert. He is now a kidnapping expert. Now he knows how to get kidnapped. Apparently he did it good because nobody can find him. 27. All right, I'm gonna save this one, and we'll get ready for the music clip. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. This week on the Mom's Tattoo musical interlude is the clip that we were gonna have my first week out of the hospital, but we never got to. It is Third Left. Enjoy. We'll see if we can get it running smooth, and then if you can, Andrea, we'll just cut right to it as soon as she's running good. But yeah, this the Mac. Some days it acts up like that. And yesterday at work, I was having trouble with the computers being real slow and. Nope. All right. Well, we'll just skip it then. I'll get right into talking about. Actually, I'll talk about this email that. I got to Bruce and Andrea's tonight. Andrea says, I sent you a great email, a Christmas one. But I read it, and I don't really want to do it because Andrea works at the Grange. The jokes that circulate around the Grange, for the most part, are sexist, anti-male jokes. All right. I'll read it, Andrea. Says, according to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, while both male and female reindeer grow antlers in the summer each year, male reindeer lose their antlers at the beginning of winter, mid-November to mid-December. Female reindeer keep their antlers until spring, until after their babies are born. Therefore, according to every historical depiction of Santa Claus, every single one of the reindeer, from Rudolph to Blitzen, has to be a girl. Right? And then at the bottom, here's where the sexist anti-male stuff comes in, which is why it goes around places like the Grange and Peerless and these places where a lot of ladies work. It says, we should have known only women would be able to drag a fat-ass man in a red velvet suit all around the world in one night and not get lost. Yeah. But Santa was driving, telling him where to go. And personally, if you got a fat old man in a red velvet suit, Probably gay. Really, when you think about it. And he hangs around with elves. Probably got a lot of his friends are fairies. You know, it only makes sense. Next week on Unfiltered, I'm going to be showing it was a tough choice between my first Christmas episode, where I had Santa Claus on as a guest, but we ended up with the Mexican Santa Claus and not the North Pole Santa Claus. But I figured that one was a little crude, so we went with last year's Christmas show that we did. We'll re-air it, and because Cheshire TV will be closed for the majority of next week, so we won't be doing a show next week. We won't be back actually until after the first of the year. So anyway, wow, Bruce is working like crazy in here. Is he all set, Greg, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to reboot the computer.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Just shut everything down and try reopening it. Oh, all right. We did the school board this past Tuesday night. The final public hearing and vote on the new Keene Middle School. And it was the first time I'd seen the actual model. They had it set at the back of the auditorium on a little table. And it's cool because it was a shaky table. So I shook the table like an earthquake. And the building was perfect. I tried my lighter. It wouldn't light on fire. So that's a good thing. I think the new middle school is going to be great. And it's, looking at the model, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that they've done with the property. And the school board voted unanimously to build a new school. That doesn't mean that a new school is getting built.
Still has to go to the voters.
It has to go to the voters. And 51% will not do it. Apparently, for this vote, we need a supermajority, which is 60%. Now, somebody said that Barack Obama won the presidency with 53% of the vote. Yet, we need 60% to build a new school?
Yeah,
Something just, it doesn't sound right.
because we're spending a lot of money.
We're spending $38 million, minus what the state will pay. If we're going to renovate the middle school, which is the other option, that's $58 million. 58 to renovate, 38 for new, 7 acres total after you strip 20 people of their houses, compared to 37 acres out in the country. It's a no-brainer.
But are they going to be at the end of the power grid?
No, there's a full power grid right along there. Greg never loses power.
No,
And if the school loses power, they can just run an extension cord over to Greg's and power him off them Grateful Dead lights he's got hanging in the front of his house. That's all I'm saying. A lot of people argued that if you put the middle school out there, then the kids won't be able to be downtown. And a lot of kids go downtown because they go to MoCo, the moving company, and they go to, you know,
there's
I really don't know what else they go
there's,
to.
I forget what the name of it is. My daughter goes to it every once in a while. It's across the street from the school.
Oh, okay, like the acting out
It's,
space or something like that, over where that was.
yeah, something.
But other than MoCo Arts and like the college, if there's any programs for kids at the college,
Not really.
then there is nothing for kids downtown. And my experience, I've seen these junior high kids downtown. They hang around in front of the stores and swear and talk loud and act obnoxious and stupid
Like we did.
like we did. We were lucky enough to have a little convenience store right next to the school too, so you could get out of school, shoplift some candy, and then go raise hell with all the energy you had from the sugar. That was when they made candy with real sugar and not this high fructose fancy pants stuff that they do now. Yeah, and our parents liked that because we were tired when we got home. We didn't give them any grief. But there's nothing for kids downtown. The West Keene location is fantastic. The highway's close by. Yeah, if nothing else, they can, you know, get out on the side of the highway and hitch a ride out of town. I did find out that, actually, before I go to that, I want to mention the reason why these kids act like dicks downtown. It's because middle school is, as a person, when you go through middle school, these are the years when you have to be your very, very coolest. Because if you're not cool in middle school, you will not have any friends all through high school. You form your biggest bonds in middle school. That's when puberty starts to hit. You know, you prove to all the other guys, you know, what big balls you've got, you know, just how crazy you are, and that forms your life in high school. You know, which is stupid. You do that in a downtown atmosphere, and it becomes, you know, everybody's swearing up a storm up and down Main Street. All these little kids trying to outdo each other. No, that's not right. It's bad enough we got college people downtown because half the time they're not mature enough to hang around downtown either. But that's where the college is, and we just can't build a new college. But that's what it is. It's you have to be cool, so you try to impress your friends. And if you're downtown, it's just a more visible place. Put these kids out in the woods and let them try and be cool. You know? Maybe the coolest guy will be the guy that can knock a tree down by running into it and hitting it with his head. You know? That might be cool, yeah. The guy that can do that, you know, like crushing beer cans or whatever. Opening bottles with your teeth. But it's not right. You put them out there and let them be cool out in the woods. You know?
We could be able to have more after-school activities at the school.
Yeah. It seems like the amount of land that they had, the fields that they had, were all looked phenomenal on the model. And the traffic plan that they've got looks great. Plenty of room off the street for buses and things. I did find out, though, that the middle school design has an auditorium. The state will not fund an auditorium in a middle school. Middle schools, elementary schools don't get auditoriums. They get cafetoriums or auditorium gyms. But somebody at the school board meeting said, our middle school is an arts school. I mean, our community is basically an artsy community. And we bring our kids up in the arts, the music, the drawing and painting and theater. You can't have theater in a cafetorium. You know? The more experience and real life situations that our younger kids are exposed to, for one thing, maybe they'll mature a little bit faster. Maybe. If you get them interested in something constructive. Yes. Give them a stage. Give them a small carpenter's shop where they can build their own sets. And you can do, I mean, everything. Why not a TV studio? Actually, I think there is a TV studio going to be put into the junior high school. But yeah, have a TV studio. Teach kids about video production and graphic arts. And, you know, it used to be the biggest thing back, at least when I was in school, the drama club was so-so. But Keene's biggest thing was sports. And it was the football team. And it was the wrestling team. And it was, I mean, we had state champion wrestling team at Keene High School for years and years. Through the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Coach Minichello.
Coach Minichello coached the wrestling team. Won championship after championship after championship. And we had all-state wrestlers in the class that I went to. Of course, none of them probably went on and did anything, you know, in professional wrestling. But, you know, arts people, on the other hand, we have had people from Keene that have gone places in music and in theater, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know anybody personally, or I can't think of anybody right now, but I believe there was a couple. My buddy Bob had a friend, and he went to LA to pursue drumming. He drummed in a rock band in high school. And he moved to LA and to become a great drummer. Who knows whatever happened to him, but, you know, you'd like to think that, you know, things like football and sports, a cross-country team and things like that, that's good to have in high school, but really there's no future. You know, you can groom your kid all the way through school to be an athlete, but really, if you look at it logically, the chances of anybody becoming a big money professional athlete are slim to none. The chance of becoming, you know, a graphic designer or a camera operator or something like that, something in the arts, a set builder for plays, makeup artists, anything. There's a lot bigger chance of jobs like that.
Backup musicians.
Backup musicians, yeah. I mean, the arts is, there's always going to be art. Maybe someday there won't be professional sports, but there'll still be art. There'll still be TV. I heard Detroit, I believe, is ending all of its home newspaper delivery because it's not worth it. With more and more people getting their news through the internet and through TV, newspapers are slowly becoming a thing of the past because people don't want to take the time to read it.
I read it every day.
They can turn on the TV and in half an hour get the news from 8 different papers or 10 different papers or whatever. But I don't know. But I couldn't believe the state won't fund an auditorium. That's the only thing that Keene will actually
Well,
pay for.
they may be able to.
On top.
They may be able to fight for that.
Oh, the waiver. Yeah.
Because it is a school for the arts.
And there are different certain waivers that I guess we're going to try and get from the state. But why not have, like, in middle school, we screened, and, you know, I still haven't heard whether they've come up with the exact definition of what an adequate education is. Who knows? But in middle school, why not? I also heard the state sets a limit to how big you can build your schools. Yeah. So you can't have a school that's too big. And I can't understand why. You know, if we want to, you know, make our school huge and offer, you know, food service instruction to our middle schoolers, why not? Why not build a fully functioning teaching kitchen? You know, why not have a, you know, place where they can start getting interested in medical school? You know, have a little laboratory with a slab where they can bring in a cadaver and let the kids carve up a cadaver or something. Maybe they'll get interested in forensics.
Rick, they have a school down in North Carolina, it's a high school, where when the students start there, they can actually learn their trade, and one of which is nursing, so that by the time they have graduated, they're actually RNs.
Right.
I mean, and we have such a shortage of medical personnel, you know, that, or I should say, not necessarily doctors, but nurses, LPNs,
Right.
any of the caregivers like that. We have a shortage.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
teach the kids a trade.
Exactly. And yeah, you teach the kids to care. And I was crazy yesterday for a couple of minutes because I was flicking around the channels and I landed on Maury Povich, and it wasn't one of them. I've tested a million guys who's the father of my kid. It was one of the my teenage girls are angry and violent and oversexed. And these 14, 15-year-old girls, I swear, I don't know how Maury doesn't just lose it and smack these little kids around. And of course, it was on from 10 to 11. I have to be to work for 11, so I had to rush out of the house right before the best part, you know, where they finally take all these girls to prison and put them in the cell for a couple hours with the inmates, and the inmates yell and scream at them, and all the little girls crying. Ooh. But I don't know if that really does any good or not, because the girls just get out and go right back to this same old thing. You know, oh, I'll never get arrested, blah, blah, blah. But it's stupid, and it's all on the parents, I think. It's another clear-cut case of the parents letting their kids walk all over them and do what they want. And it definitely stems from the fact that you cannot assert any authority over your kid. That's what it is. We've taken parenting out of parenting with our laws. We said if you hit your kid, you're a child abuser. Plain and simple. That's the way our laws read now. If you hit your kid, you're a child abuser. I'm sorry. Some of these kids need to be hit. And it's just, which is why I think a school with 37 acres is perfect. And start throwing in these little courses. You know, start offering them. Or don't even make it part of school, but just have areas where kids can go. Maybe off in a corner have a little place where they're making, you know, ground homes for squirrels, or, you know, putting out duck boxes or something like that. Bruce could teach the squirrel one. Yeah. Bruce is a friend of the squirrels up there in Tanglewood these days. And they come from miles. I saw one on the way up from Elm Street the other day. Just trucking.
Right towards it.
Right towards Bruce's house, yeah. It's going right up Court Street, or up the sidewalk.
That's why I don't have many more back there.
Nope, they all went from your house over to Bruce's. I'm telling you, word spreads quick in the squirrel community, Bruce. I'm not sure if I should really talk about this, but we've been talking about laws and stuff. And, well, a little bit. At the school board meeting, I was talking with a few people. And we ended up talking about laws for some reason. And somebody said, well, might as well throw in a helmet law and a seatbelt law and everything. And somebody else said, Well, no, let those who ride decide. And it went through my head real quick. I went, well, you know, if people use that argument for motorcycle helmets, why don't people use that argument for abortions? Let those who ride decide. It's as simple as that. They just passed, or they're getting ready to pass, some big federal protection thing for doctors so that doctors don't have to be part of things that they morally or religiously object to. Which, I mean, that's what they call pro-choice. The woman decides if she wants an abortion, and if a doctor doesn't want to give an abortion, he says, I'm sorry, we don't offer that service here. They're going to pass a law to protect doctors. Because apparently if you're a doctor and with abortion being legal, if a woman comes to a doctor and says, I want you to perform an abortion, the doctor has to perform an abortion.
I don't think so, because 27 years ago, Tommy was born. And when I was trying to find a doctor, one of the things I asked when I called the offices, I said, do you advocate or perform abortions? And they said, no, and if you want one, you'll need to find another doctor. And there were 3 doctors in that office, and they all took the same stand. I went to them.
All right, well, something's happening with the medical community and the whole abortion thing.
I think they've changed it.
To protect doctors. But I mean, they shouldn't have to have a law. It should be, I mean, if you're going to give choice to one, you give choice to everybody. You don't go, all right, women can decide whether they're going to have an abortion or not, but as a doctor, you can't decide whether you're going to do one or not. No, it has to be, if you're a doctor and you feel that giving abortions is wrong, well, then don't give abortions. That's part of your personal choice in life. Everybody makes their own decisions. And it's the same thing if you're a doctor and, I don't know, you believe that somebody that hasn't been breathing for 10 minutes is dead, then stop giving them CPR at 10 minutes. But if you're a doctor that believes that if somebody hasn't breathed in 15 minutes, might still be savable, then keep giving them CPR. I don't know. You choose. You know, if you're against saving people's lives, don't be a doctor. That's one good way, you know. Or if, you know, I don't know. If you're gay, don't be a gynecologist. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you get my point anyway. A doctor chooses, right? Some doctors don't believe in, like, pharmaceutical drugs. But that doesn't mean that they'll prescribe them anyway. They don't go, well, I believe in all holistic stuff, but here's some Percocets to get you through. Because I'm a doctor and that's what I do. No. Most doctors stick to their beliefs. If you go to a holistic doctor, you're going to get holistic cures. You're not going to get morphine and drugs and stuff like that. All right. Let me get to some of these. In 1983, a Japanese artist made a copy of the Mona Lisa completely out of toast. Donuts originated in Holland. How did I get to the food one? Maine is the toothpick capital of the world because they got the most wood.
I know where they made from.
57 countries were involved in World War II. Yeah. Yeah, and they were all fighting against each other. 47 SARS Czars are buried within the Kremlin? Yeah. Speaking of czars, I think Barack Obama just appointed somebody to be the car czar. Kind of weird. As of April 2000, Hong Kong had 392,000 fax lines, one of the highest rates of business fax use in the world. Some hotels in Las Vegas have gambling tables floating in their swimming pools.
Cool.
Yep. Some of them have snow now, too.
They usually all have snow. Oh, typically.
And there are no clocks in Las Vegas casinos because they don't want you to know what time it is. The Liberace Museum, get this, has a mirror-plated Rolls Royce. Oh, baby. Jewel-encrusted capes and the largest rhinestone in the world. Well, how much it weighs? 59 pounds. And it measures about a foot in diameter. I don't know what you wear it on, but if you divide the Great Pyramid's perimeter by 2 times its height, you get pi to the 15th digit. That's right. Take a tape measure and go try it out. The Great Wall stretches for 4,160 miles across North China. Yep. That's longer than our border fence would be. The Angel Falls in Venezuela are nearly 20 times taller than Niagara Falls. Yeah. Organized crime is estimated to account for 10% of the United States in national income. Yeah. Hey, am I manually doing the credits tonight? All right. All right.
1 minute.
Okay. Karate actually originated in India. Yep. No, I did that a few weeks ago. Man, what did I do, all these? A large swarm of locusts can eat 80,000 tons of corn in a day. That's a lot of corn. Butterflies taste with their hind feet. All right, 30 seconds. I don't know who's on no spin tonight because Randy is dumb. He said a couple of the Cheshire County commissioners and maybe the fire chief, or maybe nobody at all if it snows real bad and they don't make it in here. So I want to thank my crew, Cheshire TV, Mom's Tattoo, and Gemini Screen Print. Until next week. Peace. Yeah.
Hi, this is Mikey from Orange County Choppers, and you're watching Channel 8. There you go.
Thanks, man.
Yep.